Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another weekend of racing here with us at Apollo Racing Club. Tonight, we will be continuing our IMSARC series, and we will be racing at one of my favorite tracks in the world, WeatherTech Laguna Seca. It's going to be taking place in Salinas, California. Beautiful day. Let me take a look at the weather here. Nice and sunny and warm. Looking at about a 5-mile-an-hour breeze, partly cloudy. Coincidentally says there's a 65% chance of rain, but I don't see a cloud in the sky, so hopefully we're going to be looking at some nice racing conditions today. But we are just now starting to get qualifying going, so let's go ahead and start to take a look over track side and get an idea of what the pace is going to look like today. We're going to go ahead and start this qualifying session here with Tommy Kogan on his way up the hill into the corkscrew, which we've been seeing that's giving the drivers quite a bit of a challenge today. Some of that and a little bit of a lockup there out of Tommy. But we were just talking about the track conditions. You can see on there is some sand and some dust on the field, which is going to be factoring into some reduced tire grip throughout the race, which has been leading to some interesting understeer, oversteer problems for the drivers listening to the team radios during free practice. There was quite a bit of work being put into setting the cars up to try and address those road conditions. Right now, Tommy Lee Kogan into the first hairpin. And you can see they're really swinging the back end out and around. Just sticks it up there on the exit. It's going to continue down into turn 4. Turn this up a little bit. It's just a bit quiet. Keeping things nice and tidy into the sweeping left-hander. Going to go full speed under the bridge and set up one of the trickiest spots of the track. Nice kiss of the apex there. Leads it out into the rumble strips. Keeps it going up the hill. Nice and composed as he comes into the corkscrew now. A good line from there. We hear the back end getting a little bit light there. We could hear the tires spinning, but keeps it under control. Flies around the corner at 120 miles an hour into the next one. Minimum speed of 100 miles an hour. Now into the final corner, and we should get a lap time for Tommy here. And there we go, across the line, and that is going to be the first qualifying lap with a 1:13.63 for Tommy Kogan. Going to be sitting on provisional pole. Let's take a look at another driver here. Gary Colley in the AMG. Going to be kind of a light grid on the AMG, or the GT3 field today. Just 4 of the drivers showing up. Got a BMW, a Mercedes, a Porsche, and another BMW. Nice run through there. Maybe a little bit more on the outside left to use, but we'll cross the line with a valid lap time. Let's see what it looks like here for Gary. Looks like it's going to be a 1:24.14. Puts him just behind Bart Matja with a 1:22.48. Shady Ahmad with a 1:15.04 and Cyril Fogueret with a 1:15.59. So the grid getting pretty close, but Tommy Kogan really out there in front of it. We'll see if anybody has a time to compete with him. There were a couple during practice, so we'll see if they can get their lap times in. Looks like Cody Barrett is also going to set a lap time, going to be a 1:16.06 as his personal best. And just off screen there, we see Matthew Rice coming into the first corner here in the blue and orange Porsche, sets their first personal best. Going to be a 1:22.466 as the new time to beat for the GT3 field. Just 1/100th of a second faster than Bart Matja, now in second place. We also get Dylan Pitch across the line with a 1:15.853, which is going to be good enough for 5th place. Got a couple of people out there still looking to set a time. Craig Bragg going to be one of them. Here's that tricky corner there. Really can upset the balance of the car if you don't get it right, but it looks like the LMP2 field at least has gotten through there. No surprises yet. Now into the corkscrew down the hill. Really, really composed there. Okay, just 2 corners to go as Cody Barrett sets a new improvement on that personal best. Could be a 1:14.921. Moves him up into 3rd place and gets him that much closer to 2nd, just a bit off of Diego Domingo. Craig Bray gonna cross the line now, though, to set their first qualifying lap. And it's gonna be a 1:16.244. Not too far off of Dylan Pitch, only a slight improvement needed to bump him up a position in the leaderboard. Looks like the last one to set a qualifying time is going to be Josh Goen, one of the 2 Goen brothers. Looks like Nick is not going to be in attendance today. So Josh is going to have to represent the family today, and we'll see how he does with this lap time. Ooh, back end wanted to come out from behind him a little bit there, but Goen does a good job of wrestling it back under control. A good line through that corner. Let's see if he sets up the next one well. Perfect little kiss of that apex there. Now he's lining up for the last corner. Hard under the brakes. Throw the weight of the car over to the left. Oh, he may have overslowed there just a little bit. But let's see how that affects the lap time. And across the line, let's see if we get a lap time. May have been invalid. That may have been an invalid lap, so he's going to have to take another run at it. Still has plenty of time, just 6.5 minutes into the 10-minute qualifying session. Got a couple other drivers out on the track right now. Craig Bray out there. Looks like he just crossed the line trying to set a new personal best and was unable to. And Rommel van Niemen is going to be trying to set a better one too. Currently setting in P1 in the GT3 field with a 1:22.28 as the time to beat, 0.2 faster than Matthew Rice in 2nd place. Alright, let's see how Rommel does. It really is, okay, just looking at the speed differences there. Oh, and actually he's going to go ahead and toss that lap and practice his pit entry right behind him, though. Josh Goen gonna set this lap. Hopefully this one's valid. It looks like it still is. And a much better run through that final corner. Probably wanted this one to be the one that stuck anyways. But across the line, and can we get a lap time? Race control. Did he invalidate again? He may have invalidated again. I still do not see a valid lap time for Josh Goen. He is running out of time. Craig Bray across the line there. It may have been an out lap. Matter of fact, it was. Let's check back in over here with Josh Goen. Right now, these are the only 2 cars out on track. Less than 2 minutes left in the qualifying session. Oh, and Josh Goen gonna abandon that lap. Ooh, and that's out wide. Little big lock up there and almost a spin. But he's able to wrestle it back under control. And he made that look way easier than it actually was. Good recovery through the corkscrew. Now just 2 corners left to go after this one. Going about 20 miles an hour faster around that corner than the GT3s. Just this 1 corner to go. Let's see what he can do with it. Not going to be a great time after that mistake going out into the sand, but has time to set 1 more. And it looks like Josh Goen going to abandon the qualifying session. He's still in here, but he will not be setting a valid lap, and we'll have to start from the back of the grid. Ooh, just a little bit wide there, but manages to avoid flipping the car around. He is really giving it everything that he can there. We can see just how much the car is getting unsettled on corner exit as because Craig is pushing it as hard as he can and goes for the send again in that corner and almost pushes it off as wide as he did last time. That was going to be counted as an off track, and that's going to be the end of qualifying session. Forgot it doesn't loop over like it does in Assetto Corsa. Well, once it flips over through the warm-up, we will go ahead and take a look at our starting grid. It does mix it up a little bit before we can actually take a look there, but let's take a look at Cody Barrett. He's going to be working his way out onto the track, it looked like. If the cameras would like to show us, that'd be great. There we go. So the big upset from there is going to be that Josh Goen is going to be starting from the back of the grid. No qualifying lap during the session. Does mean that he's starting behind the GT3 field. Now, that's not going to be that much of a handicap in this mixed class, just because the LMP2s are so much faster than the GT3s, as opposed to, say, anybody who's done a multi-class in Assetto Corsa GT3, GT4 split. The difference here is much greater than it is there, so he shouldn't have too much trouble getting out from behind the GT3s. It's just going to be a matter of catching the field after he's done that. That's going to be setting him up for a difficult start to this race. But right now is just the last opportunity for the drivers to get back out on track. Just a little 5-minute warm-up, maybe make some setup changes that they thought the car might have needed during the practice and qualifying sessions. Otherwise, just another opportunity to get out there and practice a couple spots of the track you might want to have a little bit more rock solid before the race starts. Good line through the corkscrew there for pitch. And a wonderfully executed pit stop there. Let's hope he can do that during the race, too. Not sure what Matthew Rice is doing here. Just taking the speed limit, apparently. Woohoo! Number 10 car gonna fly around him on the outside. Probably a little bit of a jolt to them both. Yeah, not certain about what's going on there. Shady Ahmad going to be the only one to set an actual lap time during the warm-up. So it's a 1:15.992, and if memory serves, the fastest qualifying lap was a 1:13, so about 2.5 seconds off the pace. Great shot of the corkscrew there. Gotta love the cameras in iRacing. They really do have them set up in all the right places. Kunos, step up your game a little bit. Yep, it looks like more drivers opting to go for the practice pit stop, and I am not gonna knock that. That is a smart idea. and a big spin there by Diego Domingo. But again, no better time for that to happen than during the warm-up, which has just come to an end. So now we will get swapped over to the race session and start to get this race going as all of the drivers load in there. Let's go ahead and go back over that starting grid. So Tommy Lee Cogan going to be qualifying in first place, going to be starting this race out in front of the grid. It's going to be followed by Diego Domingo and Cody Barrett for P2 and 3. Shady Ahmad qualifying in P4, Ciro Fogaré in P5, Dylan Pitch in P6, Craig Bray in P7, and Josh Goen with a non-qualifier is actually going to be starting in P8. So he does start with the rest of his grid, and that's going to be followed by Roman von Niemann in first place in the GT3 split, followed by Matthew Rice in second place, Bart Mattia in P3, and Gary Cawley going to be qualifying in P4. But here we go now for the formation lap out there following the Porsche safety car. Don't mind me, just going to take one more peek at the weather. So the breeze has picked up just a little bit, though it has cooled off by a couple degrees, 20 degrees ambient, 31 on the track. Still a pretty warm day. I don't think it's going to be enough to really cause too many complications for the drivers. Man, I'm gonna geek out about it every time, but every time we get that same shot of the corkscrew looking up at it from the bottom, just having stood there in person before, it's pretty crazy to see in a simulator. But without further ado, that is going to do it for the formation lap. The safety car is going to go ahead and pull in to the pit lane to release the drivers onto the track to get this race started. I want to say a final thank you to everybody who's tuned in up to this point. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up to now, and now we just wait for the race to start, and as they cross the line, the lights go lit, and we begin this race racing down into the first corner. Right now looks pretty clean, still too wide. Oh, and a big spin for Tommy Cogan's going to get collected there, but it looked... Who was that got him? Looked like it may have been Domingo, but Craig on the outside. Very, very rough start to the this race. And is going to have to try and recover to get back over to the rest of the field, having now gotten passed by the GT3s. We can see him starting to make his way through there, gets around Bart Mattia. It's going to be Gary Cawley in the crosshairs next, but let's take a look back up at the battle for first place. Going to be led off by Cody Barrett, chased down by Ciro Fogaré. We've also got a pretty tight gap between Dylan Pitch and Craig Bray. Ooh, a bit of a lockup there for Dylan. Doesn't look like it's messed him up too bad, although now he has Josh Goen right behind him. Ooh, a little upset there from the curbing, and he's already into the pits. Yeah, that is Dylan Pitch into pit lane there. Not sure what's happened there, but that is going to release Josh Goen. A little look at the inside there by Diego Domingo, excuse me, and it looks like he may be able to get it to stick, but Ciro Fogaré on the inside going to have a good defensive line through that second corner. Looks like he's going to be able to fight for that through the next couple turns here. We actually have a very, very close battle here. 4-car train for second place behind Cyril Fogueret, going to be followed by Diego Domingo and Shady Ahmad. Cody Barrett starting to pull a little bit of a gap, and Tommy Kogan trying to recover from a spin in turn 1 to start the race. Is about 7 seconds behind the pack. But this is what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen, is the close racing. And my goodness, granted, we're only 2 laps into the race, but we still have a single file line from first all the way back to 5th place. We can see them all on camera there as they charge down the front straight. And we are going to have a side-by-side up over the fake turn 1, down into the hairpin. 98 and 10 are going to go side-by-side. Ooh, and that's going to be a big mistake there for Cody Barrett on the outside. Overcooks it into turn 1, costs him 2 positions. And now the number 10 car going to be looking at getting around him, and Domingo going to make the move happen. And the race goes on. Now Cody Barrett down 2 positions. Actually, I believe that's going to be 3 now, being in 4th place. Got Craig Bray and Josh Gowen right behind him. Good run through the corkscrew there for everybody. Let's check in on the GT3 cards right now. Ramald von Niemann. I'm very sorry about that. Currently out in front of the pack with a pretty healthy lead. It's looking like about 8.5 seconds that he has run away from Matthew Rice, who is in 2nd place. Doing an excellent job, certainly good lap times, but like I was saying, 1st place is just about... Oh, actually, as I say that, I get a message that Ramald has crashed, and there he is in the corkscrew. We can see him trying to get the car going again. What has happened there? Let's chance the replay. Go ahead, here we go. Coming up over the hill into the corkscrew. No lockup there. Oh, but a big spin from the back when the car was midway through the corkscrew, and that is a rough spot to spin it. And it's going to go ahead and bump it into the wall, and there's the pass there to lose 1st place. We know he's got the pace to be able to catch up to them. We'll see if he's able to pull it off. Update on the LMP2 grid. Looking back out of the front of that, Cyril Fogueret has moved his way up into 1st place, getting chased down by Shady Ahmad. Just behind him is going to be Diego Domingo for 3rd place, and Cody Barrett has fallen back just a little bit, 2.5 second gap to Domingo, but he's got Craig Bray right behind him, so he is going to be busy dealing with that battle. Down into turn 1. Cody making sure not to repeat the same mistake and overcook it into there. And actually looks like he gets a great exit there, pulling just a little bit of a gap to Craig Bray just behind him. Let's look up at this battle for 1st place now, as Diego Domingo has closed up on Cyril Fogueret and is now starting to apply some pressure for him. We can also see Dylan Pitch, after having taken that early pit stop, has gotten around Gary Cawley in the GT3 field and is beginning to work his way back up towards the front. Oh, and this is getting close, ladies and gentlemen. The 7-11 car versus the 10 car. Coming down into the final corner, and Domingo really getting close to the back of that other car. Is really starting to apply some pressure here. Only 6.5 minutes into this hour-and-a-half long race, and it has been action-packed all the way through here as we have had non-stop battles for position. We'll see how long the drivers can keep it up, but with the paces being as similar as they are, I've got high hopes for this race. Dylan Pitch getting ready to pass another GT3 car here. It's going to be Bart Matchett at the wheel in the corkscrew. These are these corners where Dylan really needs to capitalize on the speed advantage those LMP2 cars have in the corners. That last one, he has a 20-mile-an-hour advantage through there if he can get the line right. But he should get him pretty easily on this straight here. And there we go. Ooh, big move to the inside there for the number 10 car. Diego Domingo not quite able to stick it though, and this battle is going to rage on for another lap. All the while, Shady Ahmad slowly starting to reel them in. Big move to the outside by the red car. Driving on board now with Ciro Fogaré here, and you can see just how little space the drivers have inside of those things. It really is like sticking your head inside of a bubble. Very cramped inside those LMP2 cars. Gotta hand it to the group here at the front. They're doing an excellent job of keeping this race very, very close. Go ahead and take a look on board here with Diego Domingo. Oh, and they've caught up to some blue flag traffic. This is where things get interesting, folks. Oh, it actually looks like the AMG there had a little bit of foresight and just decides he does not want to be a part of this. Good run through there. Let's see if he can kind of just wheel him in just a little bit, but something we don't see off camera is that Domingo has a problem of his own in the form of Shady Ahmad just behind him. And honestly, Cody Barrett and Craig Bray not far behind them. Let's take a look at actually coming into the corkscrew here. Big move from Shady Ahmad. Makes a lunge and makes up some ground there. As much as I don't want to take our eyes off of this, we do have a battle for first place here. It does look like Raymond Van Niemen has caught back up to Matthew Rice after that spin in the corkscrew, and now we have a battle for P1 in the GT3 split. Let's see, is he going to be able to hold him off here, or is Rommel going to just sneak through there? And I think that's the move done there. I'm not sure if that was Rice giving him the position, or if that really was just as effortless for Rommel as it looked. Taking a look back at the LMP2 cars. Fogaré doing an excellent job of holding off Diego Domingo this entire time, which is allowing for a bit of traffic to start to form behind the two of them. If we take a look at the chopper cam here, or the blimp cam, I guess I should say, we can see there's our 5-car train for first place. They are really not separated by much. Ooh, and they've caught up to a GT3. Kind of fun to watch the race from this high, but I missed the sound of the engines. So let's go ahead and get back trackside here. Ooh, that's a bit of a traffic jam. That is bad news for Fogaré. And that has just tightened this front grid up even more. Third place, Bart Matchett is doing whatever he can to stay out of the way here as he's about to get mobbed by Deleras. And now we go too wide into turn one. Shady Ahmad on the inside here. And there is Matthew Rice to add to the the traffic jam here. It looks like the LMPs are going to be kind and get through their drama free. And there's P1 Rommel von Neumann out in front there, going to have his turn getting past. Well, once again, these two going to try going side by side into turn one here. Shady Ahmad on the outside is going to have a harder time trying to defend that. Domingo going to hang on to P2 for just a little bit longer. We can see Fogaré out in front there, beginning to pull a bit of a gap while these two are battling it out. Nope, absolutely not. We're going to the TV cams here because we now have a battle for first place here, and it looks like Diego Domingo going to be able to squeeze his way up the inside here into turn one. And Cyril Fogaré, after several laps of being able to defend first place, is going to get past. And that is going to yield P1 to Diego Domingo. Now the real question is, will he be able to pull a gap here now that he's gotten out in front of the traffic? Let's see if he had some pace on tap. Hit a very strong qualifying lap. Might just now be his opportunity to get in there and put some good laps down during the race. Ooh, a big chunk of that curb there taken. He's real lucky that that didn't send the car off into the sand on the outside, but he held on to it, coming down in the corkscrew now. And you can see just how much sand has found its way onto the track, further complicating this already very tricky track. Domingo there a little bit over a half second faster than the rest of the pack on that lap. Oh, Matthew Rice gets passed off screen here, and actually look at this, we have a three-car battle for first place in the GT3 field. We must have missed something there because Van Nieman had a very, very healthy gap once he had gotten back out in front, but it seems that some traffic may have complicated that for him. On another update, it looks like Dylan Pitch back in the pit stops. Oh, yeah, boy, I wonder why. Looking at that front bumper, we can't really see it from here. He doesn't have one. Actually, looking at the front of Bart Matchia's car, it does look like he's got a bit of damage to that front bumper. Doesn't seem to be affecting him too bad, as he's still, I mean, very decidedly in contention for second place, maybe even first, with a couple of mistakes from the drivers in front. So he may have just made the decision that the damage wasn't worth getting it repaired right now. At some point, he will have to make a pit stop. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses to repair it then. Let's take a look up here behind Ciro Fogaré. He's still getting chased down by Shady Ahmad. He's managed to give himself just a little bit of a gap since the last time we looked. Ooh, and what happened? Did I see Shady Ahmad had a little bit of an off track there, and Cody Barrett gets around him. I think we just missed that off track. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay while the gaps are still relatively open. Let's take a look here. Ooh, just overcooks it and has a big lockup there going into the final corner. Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's enough for two cars to get around. Craig Bray slowly starting to reel in Cody Barrett here. Might be looking at a pass in the next couple corners. Let's see, on that last lap, he was just about 8/10 faster around the track. If he's able to do that again, there should be an opportunity for him to pass. Laguna Seca, pretty difficult to pass at, but that doesn't stop the drivers yet today. And Craig does not look like he is going to wait around for that opportunity to pass. He is going to continue to push up as we're watching that gap whittle away. But it looks like that corner may have pushed just a bit too hard, and what was a quarter second opens up to about a half a second and finds it right back in the next corner. And actually, he's going to have a run on him up the hill. We see the blinkers. They're trading sides of the track. Ooh, and that's rough for Craig Bray. He had the better exit there. Cody Barrett was just really good at making sure his car was in the way. So Craig gonna have to try and set up another pass. It's not gonna be an easy one for him to do. Yeah, and that's going to be advantage Barrett on that last lap. So it looks like they may just be trading lap times here for a little bit, as we can see Craig go in there just a hair deep. It doesn't appear to have cost him too much time, though. Let's go ahead and check in with, I believe that's Bart Matchia and Matthew Rice. Riding on board inside one of the GT3s. You can see it's like actually being inside a real car instead of a bubble. Matchia really starting to apply some pressure here to Rice as they come around the final corner now. Bart Matchia right there, but without a look at the pass there. Let's see, a good exit for him here. Could set up a passing opportunity. Ooh, and Tommy Kogan has an off track. Yeah, that damage to the front really not playing with him too much, as we see a great move there on the outside. Let's see if he can get out just in front for the next corner, and he does. Big move there by Bart Matja on Matthew Rice is going to net him second place, at least for the time being. We can see he's starting to get caught up to. That's the number 10 car of Diego Domingo behind them. And there he is right there, starting to catch up to him. Ooh, gets very loose there on the exit of the corkscrew. And that was seconds from disaster there with almost what would have been a big spin. He's got a 10-second pillow of time between him and Ciro Fogaré for second place. But he's got to avoid those mistakes wherever he can. But he's going to go ahead and filter through this pack of battling GT3 cars. Looks like it shouldn't be too much of a challenge for him. He's going to get out in front of the BMW of Matcha before the first turn. Ooh, and outbrakes himself a little bit, it looks like. Not entirely certain what happened there. There we go. We can see Van Niemen getting past there on the outside. Oh, and that's still very, very close there by Diego Domingo. Maybe a little bit of a scare there for Van Niemen, but looks like they both get through there incident-free. Let's take a look at Cody Barrett here. Him and Craig Bray still chasing each other down. What I'm very curious about is what happened to Tommy Kogan. Qualifying in P1, still setting good lap times, but down 6 positions. Looks like he had a couple of off tracks, but that doesn't explain being that far behind. But still, half-second faster than the car in front of him on the previous lap. I'm sure he'll catch up at some point. Shady Ahmad into the pits. We're 25 minutes into the race, not even to the halfway mark, but he's going to go ahead and serve that pit stop. And there is Craig Bray again, looking at the back of Cody Barrett's car. Great first couple of sectors there for Craig Bray. Was about a 2-second gap to the car in front. He's whittled that down already to inside a half second. Shady Ahmad on his way out of the pits. Ooh, and there's a dangerous situation between Matja and Barrett there. And it looks like it's going to be a traffic jam into the first corner. That BMW just has nowhere to go, and Craig Bray right there to capitalize on it. Now he is side by side with Cody Barrett as the two of them charge up the pit straight into turn 1. Catching up to the class lead for the GT3s there. Van Niemen on the outside. Man, he has had bad luck with passing LMP2s. This is the second time I've seen one of the faster cars send it up the inside on that corner on that car. Here we go again. Cody Barrett and Craig Bray. Oh, and a big spin by Cody Barrett going into the corkscrew. A lockup is going to leave him spun around on the outside, and that just opens the window for Craig Bray to finally get that pass. And we can see just how much time that bought him. Cody Barrett now just getting around that corner, and Shady Ahmad has caught up to him. Excuse me. No, that is Josh Goen. And just behind them is Tommy Lee Cogan's going to be looking for a piece. Josh Goen under some pressure here. Tommy Cogan really starting to get close to him. Coming through the corkscrew, that can be dangerous, but everybody is able to get through there cleanly. And that is Cody Barrett into the pits. At just about the half-hour mark. Still 2/3 of the race time left. And Tommy Lee Cogan looking for a way through on the inside, and I think he may have found it. And there we go. Yep, that is going to be the move done. We're going to have to see if Josh Goen's got any answer to that. I don't know if it's just me, but it is starting to look like it's getting a bit darker out there. So let's take a peek at the weather. Well, nothing's changed there. Great lap there out of Tommy Lee Cogan. This will be a 1:14.371. Just 0.3 off of his personal best so far for the session. And you see that is more than good enough to start pulling a gap to Josh Goen there. And he is now looking to catch up to Craig Bray for P3, and we'll see if he's able to recover from a rough start. Literally, turn one, lap one, spins the car. But right now, he has recovered enough to say he's only 3 positions down from where he started at, and he's got more than enough race time left to try and make up those final couple positions. Although I will say, it is going to be an uphill battle because Diego Domingo is now over 30 seconds in front. Take a look over at the GT3 field. Things have gotten spicy again as Bart Matcha has caught up to Van Nieman. Coming up into the corkscrew. And it is going to be BMW versus BMW. Gotta love when you see these matchings happen because it really does come down to which driver handles the corners better. Well, there is number 98. That's going to be Shady Ahmad Catching up to these two coming into turn one. He's going to get around Matcha, no problem. Van Nieman having to go wide on the outside there is just going to let Matcha catch right back up to him after that car passes. We see Matthew Rice there in the background starting to catch up to these two. Kind of a risky send there by Diego Domingo, but he finds a way to thread the needle. Of course, that may have looked a little bit tighter than it was from inside the car, but nonetheless a good move to be sure. Cody Barrett there with a new personal best, going to be a 1:15.402. New fastest lap of the session out of Diego Domingo. Going to be a 1:13.573. And that is a blisteringly fast lap time. That is competing with Tommy Lee Cogan's qualifying lap. Speaking of Tommy Lee Cogan, last time we talked, he had a 31-second gap to first place. Let me take a look at where that's at now. He's got it down to 24 seconds. So he is slowly but surely making his way back up to the front of the field. Match is getting a little bit impatient, has a look on the inside. Thankfully for both these drivers, he decided that was not the place to try that overtake. Ooh, but a nice aggressive line there through the corkscrew. Keeps him right glued to the back of Van Nieman here. Starting to wonder if he's going to be getting lightheaded from the exhaust fumes of the car from in front of him, because that is all he's been breathing for the last 10 minutes as he goes for a dive into the pits. Might be looking for an undercut there. Didn't look like the cleanest pit entry. We'll see if he picks up a penalty for that, but I think he's okay. Matthew Rice going to go ahead and pass him for a position on the pit stop there. Ooh, and it also looks like race leader Diego Domingo is into the pits. Fogaré is caught up to the back of Matthew Rice there. Easy pass on the inside going into turn 3. Craig Bray right behind him, going to try and do the same thing, and is going to get out no problem. Diego Domingo is out of pit lane. Now coming up into turn 5 there. Looks like he's able to stay out in front of a couple of the other cars, Shady Ahmad and Cody Barrett. Ooh, it looks like Cyril Fogaré is into the pits now. Looks like the driver's going ahead and starting that pit cycle. Coming up on the halfway mark here in just a little bit. Josh Goen also into the pits now. Cyril Fogaré making his way out of pit lane now. Looks like Goen not going to be far behind him. Yep, there we go. Goen. Oh, and we've got a crash from Shady Ahmad that we seem to have missed. Oh, and he has stopped on the track. Looks like he's getting it going again. Let's go ahead and take a look at that replay, see what we missed. Kind of a shallow entry there. No, and he just goes ahead and parks it over there in the middle of the track. Not sure what the story there is. Looks like Craig Bray is into the pits now. Now, Tommy Kogan right now sitting in P1. The question is, has he served a mandatory pit stop? I don't know the answer to that question. Take a look over here. It does look like he has one stop. So maybe that early pit stop was a successful undercut, and he has found himself back out in first place. I mean, we like to say, we like to talk about the big brain strats, but he might have just pulled one over on even the commentator. But that might even be edging into the realm of galaxy brain strats. Well, once everybody is cycled through the pits here, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on what Tommy Kogan does in the next about half hour or so. If he hasn't served a pit stop by then, he'll definitely be feeling it in the tires by then. So we will keep a very close eye on our friend here. See where he ends up here in the next couple of minutes. Looking around the field, though, not a lot of super tight battles for position. Got a couple cars within a few seconds of each other. Craig Bray out in front of Cody Barrett now. Got about a 2.5 second gap. Shady Ahmad not far out in front of Craig Bray. That's going to be Cyril Fogaré just out in front of Shady Ahmad there, chasing each other down for position. And there we go, actually. Tommy Lee Kogan into the pits. So that first pit stop must have been for damage or something else, because now he's coming in for an additional one, and Diego Domingo should have no problem getting around him here. So we can see he's closing up on him, just a couple hundred meters to go. You see Tommy Kogan there parked on the end of pit lane, and Diego Domingo makes it past him for a position. Looks like we may have a similar situation here with Cyril. We get a nice view from inside the cockpit of him going through corkscrew. Ooh, and it may be enough for him to gain P2 here as Tommy Kogan leaves the pits. Oh, let's see if he's there in time. He's still getting the car up to speed. It's going to be a race down into turn 1. I don't think it's going to go his way. He may come out in P2. He's going to come out. Okay, P3, excuse me. But Ciro Fogaré does find his way through there. Now it's just a question of if Tommy Kogan can get his tires warmed up in time and able to get that position back. Gets very close to him up the hill into the corkscrew. Is he going to go for it? Let's see. He might try and get the cut back in on the exit here. Looks like all three there actually get a very good line there through corkscrew. We now have the 3-car battle for second place. Ciro Fogaré out in front, followed by Tommy Kogan and Shady Ahmad. 43 minutes into this race, and they are still trying to determine who's going to be finishing in second. A great outlap there for Kogan. Now let's see what he can do now that he's got his tires warmed up. That was a great corner there for Kogan. We see him gaining a lot of ground there mid-corner. He's just carrying more speed through there than Ciro Fogaré. Let's see if that's going to be enough for a passing opportunity. Hopefully not at the corkscrew. That could be disastrous. Although I would love to see it. Kogan looking for any way through. You can see him checking both sides of the car in front, looking for a way around him. But Cyril doing an excellent job of making that car 2 lanes wide as they come down into turn 1. Kogan on the inside. Let's see if he can make it stick. And he finds the grip to make it happen. That's Tommy Kogan up into P2. Now 35 seconds between him and Diego Domingo, and half the race left to try and shut that down. Fogaré not out of the woods yet. Now Shady Ahmad wants a piece of him. Ooh, we got a little bit of a traffic jam there. Ciro Fogaré catches up to Matthew Rice in the middle of the corkscrew. Sure, that was scary there for the Porsche driver. Both Matthew Rice and Van Nieman into the pit lane. Very interesting to see our GT3 leaders on the same pit schedule. Both of them coming in at the 46-minute mark. Should be interesting to see how they come out. Bart Matcha makes a pass on the other two in the pit lane. Let's take a look at those pit stop counts again. Looks like they'll have been serving 2 stops, Van Nieman and Rice. So Matcha gets out in front, but both of them coming out of the pits now. Let's see how that plays out. Van Nieman does come out in front. Matthew Rice not far behind him. Let's check back in with the battle for third place. Behind Tommy Kogan, Cyril Fogueret getting caught up to by Shady Ahmad. Slowly but surely. Fogueret starting to fall under some pressure here by Shady Ahmad behind. Oh, and hold on, we have a big update here. Van Nieman has a crash and gets passed by Matthew Rice. Let's take a look at the replay, see what we missed here. Oh no, does Corkscrew get him again? No, it doesn't look like it. Now into the next corner, and the back gets away from him. That's a big spin for Van Nieman. And let's see, as he tries to get it back on track, there we go. Easy pass from Matthew Rice while he's out there trying to get the car back on track. Unfortunate, but that is racing for you. Couldn't have come back at a better time. Fogueret still hanging on to his lead on Shady Ahmad, but it is very, very close between the two. Ooh, Cody Barrett has a bit of an off track. Looks like it was just a minor one. Craig Bray starting to enter into this battle for third place here. We see just in front of him, Fogueret and Shady Ahmad. Very close to one another, but Craig Bray has now entered the pack. Oh, and right in the middle of it is Van Nieman. Tommy Lee Kogan on that last lap sets a personal best. Is a 1:13.97. 4/10 off of Diego Domingo's fastest time. Ooh, Shady Ahmad looking for a very cursed pass there. Fortunately, not enough room for him to make it happen, but now Matthew Rice going to get caught in the middle of this, going into the corkscrew. And Shady is just going to have to sit there and watch the other car get smaller in front of him as he catches Matthew Rice at perhaps one of the worst spots of track that he could have. Finds his way back out around, but it has cost him several precious tenths of a second. And another personal best there out of Tommy Kogan, a 1:13.72. And he is starting to close down that gap to Diego Domingo out in front of him. Also looks like we have a bit of a battle beginning to develop between Josh Goen and Cody Barrett. Matthew Rice getting ready to get past again here. Looks like, yeah, they catch them at a good spot of track there. Both the LMPs able to get through, no problem. Going slowly but surely, starting to reel in Barrett here as they come up into the corkscrew. Was 3/4 of a second, now inside a half second. Almost a bit of snap oversteer there for Going, but he gets it back under control. Both drivers there putting in good laps. Cody Barrett, about a 3/10 advantage. Let's take a look at this. Has gotten interesting. Craig Bray and Shady Ahmad trading positions for P4. Ooh, a great move there by Craig Bray on the outside. Makes the pass happen in the corkscrew. And that is textbook what you want to see there through the corkscrew. Great move there by Craig Bray. As a matter of fact, I'd like to take another look at that if y'all don't mind. Just sets up the exit perfectly, gets out a little bit wider and takes advantage of the compromised exit from the car in front. And if ever there was going to be a pass in the corkscrew, that was what it was going to look like. Doesn't look like it was enough for too terribly much of an advantage, though, because here we are on the other half of the track. And Shady Ahmad's still right behind Craig Bray. Ooh, and a bit of a mistake there by Craig Bray. Outbrakes himself and is going to give that position right back to Shady Ahmad. And unfortunately, with a 3.5 second penalty attached to it. And Shady Ahmad is actually into the pits. And that is going to give Craig an easy pass there for a position. Shady Ahmad leaves the pits in 7th place. And Going, starting to catch back up to Barrett. We've seen the gap kind of fluctuate between a half second and 1 second. Looks like he gets a great run up the hill, though. He gains about a 1/4 second on Barrett up the straight. Let's see if he can get some time back here on the exit of corkscrew. Well, it looks like these two are kind of just trading time here, different parts of the track. But Cody Barrett overall a little bit faster that last lap. And we'll have that confirmation here in just a second once we see those lap times. Maybe a 1:15.1 for Barrett and a 1:15.7 for Goen. And that's going to be a personal best for Cody Barrett. Let's check in with our GT3 counterparts right now. Bart Matcha actually is out in front of the pack with a 20-second lead on Matthew Rice in second place. We can actually see there's Van Niemann just a little bit behind him. Got about a 4.5 second gap to make up to second place. There's a pretty easy pass for the 98 car of Shady Ahmad. Let's check in with our race leader. Haven't seen much of him since early in the race because he has kind of run away with this thing. Diego Domingo out in front still with a 32-second lead on Tommy Kogan. I would have expected that gap to get a little bit smaller by now, but he has more or less maintained that same lead the entire time. Right there we see a new personal best for Craig Bray, 1:14.6, followed by a personal best for Cody Barrett, a 1:14.8. Bart Matchin not happy about that pass. Let's check in on second place Tommy Kogan here coming into the corkscrew. A little bit of slip angle there from the back, but he gets the car through. And Tommy Kogan, you remember, qualified P1, started the race and spun the car in turn 1. Didn't quite catch if it was a result of contact or not, but he did have to work his way all the way from the back of the field back to the front. Has done so, save for one position. Even though he is down a position on the day, it has been a phenomenal drive for him. Ciro Fogueray also having a pretty good drive, up 2 positions since the start of the race. Has been very, very consistent with those lap times. He just keeps banking in good lap after good lap and has hung on to that third place position for a little while. Craig Bray, the closest one to striking distance for that. Right now sitting in P4, up 3 positions since the start of the race. Cody Barrett into the pits, so Josh Goen gets out in front of him. Josh Goen was a no qualifier, so started at the back of the grid of the LMP2 field. Up 3 positions, sitting in 5th place. Cody Barrett there in the pit lane, getting some tires swapped out. And Shady Ahmad looking to maybe get around him here while he is up on the jacks. There we go, there's the pass for 6th place for Shady Ahmad. As Cody Barrett gets the car moving, we'll see him come up over the hill here. There he is. There is the car of Matthew Rice, just a little bit behind him. Looks like he's going to get passed by Tommy Kogan. There's Van Niemann in second place, 3.5 seconds back. Still within line of sight of the car in front of him. Just got to keep pushing, try and close that gap down. We know he's got the pace. He held on to first place for some time. Just got to link it up enough times. Craig Bray into the pits. We have our two French drivers on the track here. One in the GT3, one in an LMP2. Both of them rocking their country's flag on the wing. Love to see that. Well, this is going to be interesting. Matthew Rice left out wide. Gonna allow Fogaré an easy pass on the inside, just how it should be. Does it without compromising either of their laps. Too bad. I'm gonna take a look at the track map here to see if we've got anybody close to getting past. Doesn't appear so. Looks like Cody Barrett might be getting ready to get passed here by Tommy Lee Cogan. Let's watch these two for a little bit, see what happens. New personal best for Craig Bray with a 114.504. Ooh, and actually it looks like Josh Goen has a crash. And it must have been a corkscrew, so corkscrew takes another victim. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Going for a pass on Matthew Rice up the inside, coming into corkscrew. I think he's late on the brakes though. No, he gets the brakes. Oh, but the curb gives him a bounce and loses the back end of the car. And he's gonna park it in a spot of the corkscrew that I have visited frequently. Unfortunate, but gets it back out. Ooh, almost a bit of an accident there with race leader Diego Domingo. Not really anybody's fault there, but just a rough spot of the track to try and rejoin. Ooh, and it looks like Tommy Cogan back into the pits. Interesting. That's going to lead to an easy pass for Fogaré. That's going to be his third pit stop, right? Yeah, that will be his third pit stop. And we can see him. There's Bart Matcha. It does look like he got that front bumper fixed whenever he went through the pits. Kogan now back out onto the track. Looks like that is the only position he'll lose is to Ciro Fogaré. That said, it does look like Van Niemen is starting to catch up to Bart Mattia. Or excuse me, Matthew Rice. 1.3 second gap at the moment. We'll see if he's able to reel him in. He's definitely starting to get to the point where I'd say he's in striking distance. Just got a little bit more to reel him in. Bart Mattia has an off track. Looks like he gets his way back on. Cody Barrett also, big off track there in turn 4. Gets out a little bit wide, but gets it back under control. Bart Mattia looks like his off track consequence free too. I don't see any damage on there. Just a little bit of lost time. Let's take a look back over at Matthew Rice and Van Niemen. Believe that is Craig Bray. It is there, looking for a way through and finds it. And the gap between Van Niemen and Rice is closed down inside of a second. Now looking at 3/4 of a second. Might even be able to lock it down to a half second as they come through turn 6. And then next under the bridge, one of the trickier corners on the track. Rice gets a good line through there. He's going to carry that momentum up the hill and gets away from Van Niemen just a little bit. Well, 20 minutes left in this race, and we do have a couple battles for positions still. In the GT3 field, even with only 3 cars, the driver's pace has been close enough to one another that Matthew Rice and Van Niemen are going to be battling for position through the final stage of this race. Oh, and it's getting very close now as Van Niemen is basically sniffing the exhaust fumes off the back of Matthew Rice's Porsche as they almost touch bumpers coming through the corkscrew. Van Niemen to the outside, tries to carry a little bit more speed, but the Porsche able to rotate just a little bit better through that corner, but it's going to lead into a chase to the second to final corner here. That BMW trying to put that power down, but that Porsche can just turn a little bit better. He's going to be getting the draft up the straight. Now over the hill, down back into turn 1. Cody Barrett going to try and navigate this battle here. Ooh, the BMW goes off wide, but the Dallara able to sneak through there on the inside line. Do not try that in a GT3. Josh going into the pit lane. That's going to net a position for Craig Bray, moving him up into 4th place. And Shady Ahmad also there to capitalize. Looks like Cody Barrett might be the last car through. And a late pit stop's going to bump Josh Goen down into last place for his class. And there it goes. Josh Goen off the jacks now. Looks like he's gonna have a pretty drama-free pit exit here. Let's take a look here. Such a tricky exit. You want to go faster there than the car will actually let you. At least in the GT3s. I've never driven an LMP2 around this track. Matthew Rice does seem to be pulling a gap to Van Nieman. We'll see if Van Nieman's able to catch up. He's done it a couple of times since this battle started. I'm not sure if it's just unfortunate timing with LMP2s trying to pass, or if he's just had a rough couple of corners this last lap, but Matthew Rice able to get about a 1.5 seconds out in front of him. That's kind of the gap he's going to want to maintain until the end of the race if he wants to stay safely out in front for the last 15 minutes. Josh going back into the pits again. Must have had a penalty or something like that. Because, yeah, that's a drive-through that he just served. So a drive-through penalty there for Josh Goen. Or, excuse me, Cody Barrett, I mean. No, I was right. Josh Goen. I'm getting confused. Don't mind me. Looks like Diego Domingo up on the jacks right now. There's a 2-kilometer gap there, actually. And off screen, we see Tommy Cogan gets a pass on Fogaré. I didn't even see the split was getting close, so I'm going to go ahead and play the replay once they've gotten through Corkscrew. Looks like they're catching up to some traffic here, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer on that pass. But Cogan able to find another position up. I don't think he's going to be able to close in on Domingo, who is exiting the pits right now. Oh, and Tommy Cogan hits the traffic of Matthew Rice, and Van Nieman there is going to slow him down just enough to where he's not quite going to be able to catch up to Domingo during the pit, but it does get him quite a bit closer. Van Nieman able to hang on to that position. Actually, no, excuse me. No, Van Nieman makes the pass on Matthew Rice there. Excuse me. Let's take a look at that pass by Tommy Cogan for P2. We're going to rewind here for a second. Looks like it's going to be a good one coming into that corner. And yeah, he just sneaks through, gets a better exit, and is able to shove his way through there. That is a tough spot to make that pass happen. But made it happen, he does. Van Nieman's still out in front of Matthew Rice. Let's check in with one of the battles in our LMP2 field here. Craig Bray is out in front of Ciro Fogaré. And he gains himself a last-minute position gain here up into 3rd place on Ciro Fogaré. And it actually looks like they traded positions for a little while. Ooh, a little loose there on the exit for Craig, but gets the car going. He's going to continue to grow that gap to the car behind. Well, as we're entering the final 10 minutes of this race, let's go ahead and just take a look around the grid, see where everybody's at right now. Diego Domingo is out in front. Looks like he laps Cody Barrett again there. Has had a pretty commanding drive today. Has basically been out in front of the pack for at least the last 45 minutes and has maintained a steady gap to the competition since. Right now, Tommy Cogan, the only one who's on the same lap as him, 17, almost 18 seconds behind, is fighting to try and close that gap down, but is rapidly running out of time. And it does seem as though Domingo might be his match because he has stayed out in front the entire time. Craig Bray also having a solid drive, up 4 positions since the start of the race there. You can see Cyril Fogueret just a little bit behind him, also having a good drive, up a position since the start. Right now sitting in P4, has also had a great drive today. Shady Ahmad not far behind. Actually, Domingo there sets the new fastest lap of the session with a 1:13.35 with less than 10 minutes on the clock. Shady Ahmad here in P5, down a position on the day, but has had a great drive nonetheless. It has been, even though not a lot of cars out there, the traffic has proven to be challenging for all the drivers. I don't think we've seen any cross split takeouts or anything, you know, no blue flags causing any real problems on the track. Cody Barrett sitting in 6th place right now, trying to hang on to that position. Looks like he's pretty much set up to finish there. He could try and close down the gap to Shady Ahmad, but he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to do that. And Josh Goen having to serve, I think, what was a few penalties there. Going to be sitting in the back of the grid there. I'm just looking to score some points on the board, which he certainly will today. Bart Matcha has had a great drive. We've seen him kind of all over the leaderboard in the GT3 field, but he has hung on to 1st place, and he is actually up 2 positions, so he has passed both Van Nieman and Matthew Rice. Van Nieman also had a good drive today right now, sitting in P2 after getting in front of Matthew Rice. Is going to hang on to that position, and Matthew Rice very likely going to finish this race in 3rd place, going to score himself some much needed points on the board. And while I was doing that, Diego Domingo has sped up his lap by another 0.04 of a second with a 1:13.31 as his new fastest time of the race. Looks like Fogueret may get one more pass on his fellow Frenchman here. Coming up into the kink. Does he get there in time? He does. He runs it out just a little bit wide there, but still able to make that pass clean. Shady Ahmad trying to chase down Ciro Fogaré. He's going to have to get around Van Niemen there, and it looks like he's able to make it stick. No problems there. Domingo doing the same thing there around Matthew Rice. It may actually be in a position to lap a couple more cars before the end of this race. Just a little over 5 minutes left. So I think we are more or less looking at what our finishing grid's going to look like, save any last-minute catastrophes there. You can see Diego really swinging the car through that corner. Ooh, little unsettled there for Craig Bray on the exit. We can see the car bouncing around on the track there, but does look like he was able to keep it under control, avoids a spin there. Gonna get it. Ooh, looked like he was trying to set up a pass on that BMW. Doesn't quite find the time to make it happen, but he will get him into the final corner there. And yep, no fuss there. Diego Domingo gonna make another pass here before the race is over. Inside the 5-minute mark now. And that's still a 1:13.7. That is lap after lap of 1:13s, which was qualifying pace. He has turned it into race pace here today. Oh, and here we go. A battle for position has emerged here in the final stages of this race. It looks like Ciro Fogaré is gotten caught up to by Shady Ahmad, and we will have a battle for fourth place in the final 4 minutes of this race. Looks like they get around Bart Matcha there, no problem, and a big lock up there by Shady Ahmad is going to spin the car into the entry of the corkscrew, and he spins the tires and leaves the car parked there, and that's to let race leader Diego Domingo through there. And unfortunately for Shady Ahmad, that is going to mean he's going to finish in 5th place. Off track there for Matthew Rice. Looks like he spends 3 seconds off the track there. And he may have just been clearing the way there for Tommy Kogan, but nonetheless, back over to our race leader, Diego Domingo. Going to make another pass here on Bart Mattia. Ooh, there's a crash for Cody Barrett. Let's go ahead and take a look at that replay here. We just missed it off screen. Here we go. See, that's the second to final corner there at the exit of Corkscrew. Coming into the last bend now. Oh, and loses the back end. A lot of oversteer there. Loses the grip to the rear end. He's going to park it right there on the exit of the final corner. Looks like no one else is going to be involved in that incident. There's an aggressive line there for Shady Ahmad. Really got the car to rotate. All right, let's see. A little bit better luck through the corkscrew this time. Looks like it. see, this is Craig catching up to, who is that in front of him? Can't quite tell. Should think that might be Shady Ahmad there. No, that is Josh going, excuse me. Well, that is going to be the final second of the race here, and actually could not have come at a better time for Diego Domingo, who is going to celebrate crossing the line in first place in what can only be described as a dominant finish. And that is the checkered flag for Diego Domingo. Tommy Kogan now coming around the final bend to cross the line and bank himself a second place finish after a very unfortunate start of the race. He stuck to it, and he's going to bring home a second place finish. Craig Bray not far behind him. Going to be getting chased down there by Josh Go when he does find his way through there. No problem. Coming up the hill into the corkscrew. Just have a little bit left of the lap to go, and he banks himself a podium finish. Got a couple more updates coming from around the grid there. Bart Matcha does bring home the P1 finish in the GT3 field, and a very well-deserved first place finish, passing both the other cars that finished the race. Van Nieman finishing in second place, Matthew Rice there in third. And there we go, Craig Bray across the line, finishing himself in third place. A finish I'm sure he'll be happy with. Cyril Fogaré just a little bit behind him. Going to be the last one across the line to finish in fourth place. Shady Ahmad finishing in P5, and Cody Barrett finishing in P6. But that is going to do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is our race. Big hats off to our both of our class winners, Diego Domingo and Bart Matcha, for their great performances today. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch this race. An hour and a half with only, what is that, 12 cars, but they managed to make every minute of the race exciting for us to watch here at home. So I want to say a final thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I certainly had a good time streaming it, and we hope to catch you next time. We'll be, again, it's an every other weekend series, so not next Sunday, but the Sunday following that. We hope to see you then. Make sure you hit those follow buttons if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that like button. It does help the algorithm kind of get our content out to more people. And if you'd liked what you saw and you want to see more of it, we do have racing literally every night of the week. Everything from ACF1 to Dirt Rally. We've even got NASCAR trucks going on. There's something for everyone here at Apollo Racing Club. So make sure you drop by the Discord if any of that sounds interesting to you. We'd love to get you plugged in and get you driving here and on camera with the rest of the drivers. But until next time, as always, my name is Matt McAdams. Been bringing you guys the action here from the commentator's booth. I look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks for the next race. So until next time, y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon.